Being in the body, being the hollow bone, neither using the old religious beliefs that we should hate the body and ascend the body and denigrate the body, nor worship the body as the end all be all. Recognizing that these bodies, these mind body vehicles that we ultimately created for this earth, are designed to walk on this earth. If they were not, we would be living somewhere else or not in a body. These bodies are magnificent operating systems, vehicles to live on this earth. Okay, so that's going to tie in a little bit later. So let me just tune in here, because what I want to talk about today is the energies at play and what we can do as priestesses to really leverage these energies. And I want to begin by doing some broad stroke overview of where we are as a planetary family. So for some of you, this is going to be old, familiar, so please bear with me. For some of you, if it's new, this might be interesting. It also may be triggering. So here's my caveat. When we are triggered by something, it is our trigger. So if you are triggered by something I say because it's news to you, it's uncomfortable, it challenges the choices or beliefs that you've had, the invitation always is to go, ooh, I'm triggered. Let me go inward and really work on this first. So if you get triggered, it's your trigger. Work on it. If you send me an email full of your reaction triggers because of this, I'm not going to respond, because I will not coddle the ego. The ego is what's triggered, okay? And maybe this will make more sense as we go along. And it's not because I don't hold you in prayer and compassion, because I will, but please do not send me attack emails if something triggers you here, because it's still going to be your trigger, okay? It's not attacking the messenger does nothing except continue to activate and deny what you need to go in and work on yourself. We all get triggered. I have my triggers and I have my tools for working them through, which is a lot of what I share in these different live streams and my work. Okay. The other thing I want to say is some of what I'm going to share with you in this sort of the big picture is stuff that is like downloaded knowing stuff. Some of it is guided from higher teachers like Jesus and the goddesses that I channel and other channeled material. Some of it is evidential based, even though it is suppressed in the mainstream. So it doesn't take a lot to find it, but you do have to know where to look. Okay, so those are all my caveats. So now let me tune in and get this going. Okay. We're going to talk about levels. At the highest level, the ultimate level, we are all one. We are having a dream in the mind of what we would call God, the divine. That God is not a dude, nor is it a dudette, nor is it a female. It is the ultimate creative power. And we are created in that likeness and image, which is to say, potently creative, unconditionally loving, and totally free. The closest I ever came to an experience of God, there have been a few. One of them was, there have been a couple of times where I had a deep, overwhelming, like the cup runneth over, knowing that we were all one, in tears of being held in the divine. But they were very brief, and I think it still was not the ultimate experience by any stretch, but it was a sense of it. It was a hint of it. It was a peek of it. But I also one time had a vision of the universe, the multiverse, the divine as an infinite unfolding fractal, in which every smallest part contained everything else in it, like a hologram almost. And I saw in that fractal, that infinite fractal that could manifest in any infinite varieties of ways beyond what we could imagine, where we were in that infinite cosmos. And where we were was in a very dark, small, grubby little place in some backwater corner of this infinite fractal of magnificence and love. That's not to say that we're bad. It's to say that those of us who are here because we have miscreated using our potency as creator beings. How did we miscreate? We miscreated in the belief that we were separate from God. That's the idea of the fall. So in a dream, we imagined what would it be like to create without love, without God. And in that potency that we are, it came to be. And we descended over time into this dense realm, creating karmic experiences that we need to heal and forgive. We need to come back to the frequency that's high enough to exit this realm or graduate, if you will. That's not to say that there aren't creative things here and we aren't living beings. We are. It's a dream. At the highest level, this is a dream. We have never really left God. But we are on a dream journey into an experience of what it would be like to create without God or without love. And we journey on that, chasing our idols, exploring, well, I think this will make me happy. I think that'll make me happy. Lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. I think having a gorgeous body is going to make me happy this time. I think mad sex all the time is going to make me happy. I think, being the king of the hill and having the most power is going to make me happy this time. I want to find out about power. So we keep reincarnating and then we create karmic messes, knots that need to be untied with other people, with other beings who are really all one with us, but who are engaged in this dance with us. And there come cycles of time, at least in this earth realm, and there are many multiverses where we could experience life, and maybe we experience this 3D incarnational journey in other realms, I don't know, but in this realm anyway, there are cycles of time, and at certain cycles of time, we have the opportunity to graduate. What is graduation? What's the test? Love and forgiveness. Relinquishing our attachments to the egoic constructs that have created all of this, what's going on here. So the ego projects what it does not want to own onto others. That's why I say when you're triggered, it's your trigger. Because if you're just projecting out onto others all the stuff you don't want to own, you keep living in these cycles of 3D, what I'm calling here 3D, because that's a kind of common language for us. So here we are at the end of a spiritual season, where the end of Kali Yuga is coming, to use the Hindu, the ancient Vedic understanding, and the end of a cycle of time that is recognized by the Mayans and by many others, and the end of if you understand the precession of the equinoxes, we're also at the end of a 26,000-year cycle. It's graduation time for some of us. And so now what we're going to do, recognizing it's all just a dream, really. We're having a dream, but in order to fully wake up and reunite with the divine and come to a higher level of growth, creativity, expansion, etc., we have to clear up the karma through love and forgiveness. That's what and the full recognition of who we are and full responsibility for every aspect of our lives and our choices. So now let's, from that understanding, look at what we could call the 3D matrix. Some call it the battlefield, Earth, what's going on Earth. So this is the part that might be triggering. And again, this is not for us to go into a deep, dark, negative dive, but it's rather to set the stage of understanding of, okay, here's where we're at. What do we do? How do we best navigate this as priestesses, as hollow bones to serve? And create what we want, not from the ego chasing, but from what we are called to bring into this world. Okay. So we have lived on a prison planet, to use Alex Jones. Not that I'm a big fan of Alex Jones, but to use his term, I think he coined it. We have lived on a prison planet. Why are we on a prison planet? because that's the dream we dreamed in the mind of God, through projecting out what we don't want to own in ourselves, blaming everyone else, and then either playing the victim or the victor, that whole paradigm. So in this realm, in this dream of a prison planet, there have been those who have known for a long time the cosmic workings of this world. They understand astrology, they understand frequency, they understand energy, they understand things beyond what we have been told is our reality. They understand metaphysics, they understand all that stuff. And they've been using it, weaponized it against us to keep us small, dumb, ignorant, helpless, and outsourcing authority to governments, educators, doctors, etc., etc. That's kind of where we've been. Now, they also understand the cycles of time, and that we were going to be coming to a great awakening, where the solar system is moving through the photon belt, and there's all this plasmic light coming from the sun, where the Gaia herself is ready to ascend to a new energy. So if all of humanity woke up, well, these small percentage of men and women who have benefited from our ignorance through keeping us enslaved, through the funny money system, the financial fractional lending money magic system, and all the other shenanigans they're doing, the deep evil they are doing to keep their power, like child pedophilia on a scale that's unimaginable, child sacrifice. They're demonic beings. Okay, they're possessed of. They're having their dream too. They're still children of God, but in their dream they are these demonically possessed crazy people, and they've been running this planet for a long time. And they know that when we wake up, they're toast. They won't be able to benefit from all of their stuff and play all their games anymore. They're disconnected. They are the epitome of the complete disconnection from source, from love. Okay? So they have benefited from all the shenanigans. And when you really research this deep enough, you realize almost everything is a lie that we've been told. Almost everything. It's crazy. But that's okay, because this is the dream we're waking up from. So they have instituted a series, they have a long, multi-pronged, broad spectrum approach for keeping humanity asleep so that they can stay in control as long as possible. And so that includes things like war, that includes things like mystery bugs that are going to kill off half of humanity, and that includes their solution for that, which is actually the thing that's killing people. Okay, I think we all know what we're talking about, what I'm talking about here. And they are going to continue to roll out things that keep humanity's energy in the battlefield, in the lower realms of 3D, which are the energies of fear, hate, attack, separation, judgment. So isn't it interesting that we had 2 years of lockdowns based on a pathogen, let's say, where the solution has caused more death and permanent disability than anything ever in the history of any medicine solution ever. And that's being kept from the public, but those of us who do research, we know it's hundreds of thousands of people, probably millions now, whose lives are ruined because their nervous systems are different health issues. The heart issue for young male athletes and young men, boys, children. The miscarriages are unbelievable. It's out of control. But this is what they want, because the other thing that they have wanted is to massively reduce the population. Massively. There's plenty of evidence of this, but you have to look, because in their crazy religion, they have to tell us everything that they plan to do. And then they deny it and stuff, but it's out there in the movies and everything else. So we can see it. There are books written on it. We know what their plan is. We know it once we look into it. So, okay, so here we are. So this is the thing. Now, there are great temptations for all of us to be sucked back in. So if the pathogen didn't scare you enough to take their serum, which is actually the deadly weapon, then Okay, fine, we'll create a war and threaten nuclear destruction. That ought to get a few. Okay, that didn't work for you? Well, let's get you distracted with Johnny Depp and his girlfriend so you can hate on men or hate on women or just hate on people, right? So then there's that. Oh, that didn't work for you? Let's leak a rumor that the Texas court is going to override Roe versus Wade. Oh, that'll get people in histrionics. It's all food for them. And it's all keeping people locked into the battlefield of right and wrong and judgment and attack and fear. It's all the same frequency. It's all the same. And there's more that they plan. Oh, now we have food shortages. Now we have, oh, oil prices are going up because of the war. Oh, really? But we only get about 3% of our oil from Russia for America. So why are gas prices $5 a gallon? It's all bullshit. Now they're fires. So now it's fires. I'm here in the Southwest. Fires that are ruining cattle ranchers' property generations, right? Weather wars. It goes on and on and on. So what are we going to do with all of this energy? We have to rise above it and say, right, I see what's going on here. I know the bigger picture. The inevitability is that the light is coming, that Mother Earth is ascending in her frequency. She is no longer going to be in a frequency match for these crazy Satanist lizard beings to control the earth anymore. However, just like, like a bratty kid who's going to make a big mess before he can't play his games anymore, or the way an army, when they're leaving a territory, will leave scorched earth. They'll destroy everything on their way out. This is basically, in a way, what they're doing now. I don't know what their ultimate plans are in terms of the end game, but they're going to play it. They're playing to win, even though they know that ultimately they can't. They're going to either have to exit the planet, like fly away or go underground. I don't know what. But there's one other thing I want to say about distractions. The other thing I'm noticing is there's controlled opposition. We have to pay attention to controlled opposition. So when you have, there are many people in the truther community who also serve to get people riled up and upset. That's why I don't watch Alex Jones, but I do, his analogy of Prison Planet makes sense. That I'm not saying he is controlled opposition. I don't know. But I think this, again, we have to monitor our own inner feelings. How am I feeling listening to this? And the illustration that I had recently, there was this whole thing about how Project Looking Glass and the bad guys got a hold of it, and they created this vaccine for themselves so that they could inject themselves, so that when the light, there's supposed to be some kind of solar activation happening, it will kill off all the people who've been jabbed, but it will make them more powerful. And I was like, come on, people. The light activation of higher frequency cannot empower evil, darkness. It doesn't work that way. Controlled opposition, storylines to get people afraid, to get people anxious, to feel there's no hope. It's hopeless. The bad guys are going to win. Look, we are about to face big changes on this earth, and we came for this. We came to hold the field, to be the hollow bone, to bring the light through in a sacred way that honors earth and honors our eternal spirit for our sisters and brothers who are lost in form, who are lost in the dream world, who are distracted by this, that, or the other. Samrita said, I believe Elon Musk might be controlled opposition. Yeah, probably. I mean, he's the one putting Starlink up that when you walk in the middle of nowhere, when I walk out in the forest, they'll be able to track me. Hello. I don't think that's very friendly. I don't think that's very honoring of my sovereignty. So I don't trust him at all, really. Pat says distractions, false flags, and the Hegelian dialectic. Yes, preying on the emotions. So the Hegelian dialectic, that's the problem, reaction, solution, right, Pat? Yeah. Create the problem so that you trigger hysteria, and then, oh, here we come, knights in shining armor. We've got the solution for you. Climate change, same thing. Oh, the solution is paying a carbon tax. We want zero carbon. Really? We're carbon beings. Hello. It's all nonsense. It's all nonsense. And there is risk involved to the physical body, but not to the eternal soul. So the eternal soul will be fine. Whether we find ourselves in an earth change situation where this body is taken out by an earthquake or a fire or flood or something, or whether I navigate myself or you navigate yourself to a place where it's relatively stable. The eternal soul is fine. But those of us who want to graduate, we have work to do. And that is the work of love and forgiveness. And it is also to not buy into the shenanigans and to certainly not take their serums. Because their serums, now let's talk about the pineal gland. The pineal gland is like the antennae to God or to the soul, to higher self. It's the part that picks up, it's the link energetically between the physical body and the ability to source information, to pull from the Akash, the ethers, the eternity, the information and guidance we need. What these injections have in them, and we know this is true, we've seen it, those of us who've looked, self-assembling nanoparticles. The more of them you take, the more of that you get, and it is to take your radio frequency and stop it, just like what is it? Not chlorine, fluoride does, and take your consciousness so that it is hooked to AI, so that your God becomes whatever they decide they want it to be. This is the profound level of information they've had that they've kept from us of what's possible. So we don't need to be scared about that. We do need to recognize, however, that is going on with many of our sisters and brothers on this earth, and our role is in part to pray for them, but also to really come into our sovereignty, to reclaim our creative potency, and to forgive and to love like never before. So Vivian says, also gaslighting, causing problems and blaming us. Yes. I mean, that's the whole thing, right? Anyone who speaks the truth is totally gaslit. It's been happening since Tesla and before. So that's, I think I've painted enough of a picture of like, okay, that's battlefield Earth, but we don't have to be playing in that muck. We just have to be aware of the things that can tend to pull us in there, and to regroup ourselves back into our sovereign energy field, into the love field that respects all of life and chooses from that frequency, and really hone our own pineal gland, our own multidimensional skills and abilities, so that we are the hollow bone, the conduit through which the divine flows. So let me tune into what's next. Okay, so I pulled 2 cards today from 2 beautiful decks. I'm going to show you the decks first. Let me get the books. So my husband gave these cards to me for my birthday. Spirit Cards Oracle deck. This is done by a man, John Mosley. Yeah. So, and then the other card I'm going to show you is from the Priestesses of Light Oracle, and they're both incredibly beautiful decks that I think, oh, Paula has it too, that I think they're originally paintings with, oh wait, what did you show, Farah? Do you have it too? All right, isn't this a gorgeous deck? So these are art pieces that are actually multi-layered. Like this one has a lot of gold leaf in it, but they're multimedia is what I want to say. Okay, so I asked for guidance for today of, what are the energies that we can work with the cosmic energies that I still have to talk about at play. So the first one is wolf spirit. And this is wildness, freedom, and belonging also. So I'm going to tune in now and just address this card. Let me look at it right here instead of looking at myself. we are created in the likeness and image of our Creator, which is to say, free, creative, one with all that is, and loving. The wolf is a pack animal. The wolf has often been killed for its pelts, for its harassing cattle. I mean, I'm in an area where wolves are being reintroduced into the wild. They are family oriented very much. So there's that sense of belonging. But there are times when one is a lone wolf. And at this time on the planet, for those of us who have not chosen to buy into the agenda, depending on where you are in the world and what your lifestyle, you may have felt as if you did not belong. The isolation, the passports needed to go to a restaurant, all of this nonsense, right? So but however, that was an invitation for us to tune into, where do I feel free? How do I create freedom for myself? And where is my wildness, my untamedness? So we see things like right now, there's a summit going on called Exit and Build. Exit the matrix and rebuild your tribe, your community, your village, your natural home, etc. So that's this sense of maybe not belonging to the mainstream culture anymore is actually a gift for those of us who are here to rebuild, to reclaim our freedom, to reclaim our wildness, to remember it, to re-embody it, which is part of why I wanted to do that dance first thing today, so that we come into the body and really come into our own wild untamedness to whatever degree feels aligned for us right now. So this sense that there is part of our role right now is to be untamed. Not what, we think of untamed because, again, everything has been inverted and upside down. So untamed is like crazy. No, untamed is exactly what we came here to be creative, loving beings. By being untamed doesn't mean that we harm others. It's those who are hyper-controlling who are busy harming the entire planet, the earth, the nature, the humans, etc. That wild untamedness is what sets us free to be in our creative potency and to remember ourselves as natural humans on this earth. Yes, we're eternal spirits, but this body was made for this earth, and that's why I started with that today. Because any idea that some fake, phony potion that's synthetic is going to rescue your health is absurd, it's inverted, and it's crazy. But when we lose our instincts as wild, untamed beings, when we lose our wolf spirit, we forget that, and okay, a synthetic drug is going to help my health. How illogical is this? It makes no sense. But it does when we've lost our own senses, our own instinct. So the wolf is here to remind us to keep and reclaim our instincts, being in nature, making sure that we're attuned with our physical body. Again, not to worship it, but to listen and say, what does this body need right now? Like right now, I'm on this medical medium liver cleansing because nothing I was doing was making sense. And then I said, show me what I need. And boom, medical medium came in 3 times. Okay, this is my I asked for the guidance, and now I'm following and honoring my body with a natural, totally natural, healthy protocol. But that's just me. Yours will be different for you. And following our instincts such that we find our tribe so that we can feel the sense of belonging as well. And because we are here to hold a frequency of unconditional love, acceptance, freedom, creativity. These are the energies of our Creator that as priestesses, when we live and nurture that in ourselves and do our forgiveness practice and work on our triggers, not project them out onto others or attack others, then we can be that hollow bone for spirit to come through in a more congruent and smooth way so we can support others. So then the other card I got was this one. This is from the Priestesses of Light, touching the earth, planting something new. So this is the hope for me, the card of hope right now. So when we look down at the battlefield, let's pretend we are like rainbow angels here. And we're looking down at battlefield Earth at the moment. And It's like, whoa, it's a shit show down there. Oh my God, all these people, they're just constantly in crisis or upset. And now it's food and it's this and it's that and lies on the media. And anyone who tells the truth, the 17,000 doctors who have signed these accords about bringing the truth out, completely silenced. It's like, what are we going to do? We we can't look at battling the quote unquote enemy. We have to come at this from a totally different angle, which is that we are planting something new. Again, this idea of exit and build, like that summit that's going on. And again, like Return of the Priestess theme this year, we have to withdraw our energetic offerings from the 3D matrix and build the bridge to New Earth as we are crossing it, planting something new. So that's done on all levels. That's literally like, it's time to start learning how to grow your own food. Like literally, because by fall, we're probably going to be very challenged. So even if it's hanging a little hanging basket to do microgreens or some vegetables, or buying one of those things that you could put in your house where you can grow greens, something, anything, connecting with your local farmers market, etc. That kind of practical, earthy thing. But also, how do you want to see the world? Because these controllers, one of the secrets they've kept from us is that they don't have creative power themselves. Because when you separate yourself from God, you don't really, you can be clever, you can be strategic, you can manipulate things, but actual creation of manifestation, they require us to do it. This is why they float into the news media what they want us to create. They want us to be in fear in lower realms of 3D so that we're creating from that realm. Oh, it's war. It's going to be nuclear war, or whatever it is, right? Oh my God, the virus is going to kill everybody. This is what they floated in there for us to hook into, to manifest it for them as a collective. This is why it's never a good idea, for example, to watch the halftime show at the Super Bowl, because it is a satanic ritual, and they are literally feeding off of everyone as batteries who watch it to activate whatever their secret intentions are behind those rituals. So we have to do, we withdraw ourselves, but we do the same thing. We create what we want from love, from alignment with divinity, from surrendering, doing the prayers I do before I start every live stream. Mother, thank you for the opportunity to serve my sisters. Let me get out of the way that I may be the hollow bone, the conduit through which the light comes to uplift all for the highest good of all. And then from that, receive what it is that you are uniquely here to serve and do. Now, that doesn't mean that some of you might not feel the need to write a congressman or a senator or march, that kind of thing. Sometimes you might, but I would venture to guess that the majority of priestesses on the planet, because of the nature of the priestess role, probably don't often do that, because we're here to hold the field. But all of it comes from your guidance is yours. You have to follow it. And you can't do that if you're caught up in the lower realms of 3D and the battlefield right now. We have to literally look at it like it's a movie. It's as my our dear sister friend who comes here sometimes, but she's moving today, Alia says, weapons of mass distraction. So what is it that you are here to be a conduit for? Are you here to be a conduit for uplifting art, as I know we have some beautiful artists here? Are you here to be a conduit to grandmother or mother certain children so that they are the new, they are actualized into the star being selves? Are you here to be a leader or a teacher? Are you here to emanate light in your office every day where people are caught up in the matrix? It's multi-pronged. It's certainly multi-layered, whatever you're here for. It's not a one and done thing. But this is when we consistently come back to our own center, our own North Star, our own soul's intention, we'll find the peace and we will be guided to where we want to be. So let me just tune in for a moment and just see what else wants to come through. Okay, so now we're going to layer this with the astrology, so you understand the energies that are literally here for us to leverage and work with today and tonight. So an eclipse is when the nodes of the moon are conjunct the sun and or the moon, depending. So when it's a new moon eclipse, the sun and the moon are conjunct if it's new moon, and then one of the nodes is also in there close to it too. When it's a full moon, the sun and the moon are opposite each other, which means one node is conjunct the sun and one node is conjunct the moon. The nodes are locations in space, but we don't have to get into that right now. That's what forms an eclipse. What it means is that the sun and the moon and the earth are in alignment with each other, and so one blocks out the other from our perspective. That's what it means. The closer the nodes are to that conjunction, the more exact it is, or a full. So we have a full lunar eclipse today at, I don't know what time, I think 11:30 p.m. in the East Coast, something like that. So now we're going to look at okay, great, but what signs are they and what's the energetic signature here? So the sun is in the sign of Taurus, the earth sign, Mother Earth herself, touching earth, planting something new. And it is conjunct the north node, which is the direction we are going in as a collective. The south node, on the other hand, represents the past, what needs to be let go of. So in addition to the sun and the north node conjunct in Taurus, we also have Uranus right there. Uranus is the planet of revolutionary change, of freedom, of letting your freak flag fly, of sudden genius. And it's also the sign of new technology. So the shadow side of Uranus has been moving through Taurus for a number of years. The shadow side of it is Bill Gates trying to make fake food. I'm going to use technology to invent plastic food for people to eat. Oh, that's a good idea. Not. That's the shadow side of it. The synthetic, the poisons, the chemtrails, the chemicals, all of this stuff. That's the Uranus shadow side. The positive side, however, is the revolution, the awakening that says, I will be a slave to this nonsense no more. I am a free sovereign being, and I will live in accord with the earth, Uranus and Taurus, free as a sovereign being, Uranus. So conjunct north node, the direction we're going. Conjunct the sun, the shining light, the center of our solar system that is pelting us with plasmic light these days. Okay? So that's the energy we can leverage right now. We can literally, like I'm going to walk in the forest and be in the sun all day and say prayers and do a ceremony somewhere out there in the forest. I don't know where yet. Well, I have many little cubbies, hiding places. But you can also do any kind of ceremony, prayer, meditation, where you are literally rooting your energies into the earth, rising your trunk up to the heavens, your trunk and your branches, and pulling in the cosmic light of sovereignty for the collective and emanating it out into the field for this, to support this awakening. Because people are waking up all the time. There's more and more. The more they force the next booster, the more people are going, I'm not going to keep playing that game. What's really going on here? Wait a minute, I'm hearing inconsistency. So there's still hope. More people are waking up. So we can emanate that into the field. So that's the power we can leverage on this day. Because you better believe that those who are here for nefarious reasons, because their ass is grass and they are fighting for their lives, they leverage these energies too. They do. And so we are here to literally, the light is more powerful than the darkness. It doesn't take as many of us. It doesn't take as much. We just have to be in that and set that intention and emanate it out. We're pulling in the cosmic light. We're pulling in the freedom energies and we are sending it out. As hollow bones, we're bringing it through. So I want to talk about the South Node a little bit. as well. So the South Node is conjunct the Moon. The Moon is the collective, the people in astrology, among other things. It's also our deep emotions. And the South Node, and it's in Scorpio. So Scorpio is relying on other people's resources. Scorpio is secrets, hidden sexual secrets. And the light is shining right on the Moon in Scorpio. So the possibility here of the secrets being revealed, the stuff that we talk about, that I talk about, that you all know about, but that the masses are still like, la, 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 they don't know, is going to start to come out. And here's the thing. When it does, it's going to be shocking. Imagine if all that you know about the lies, about the jabs, about the pedophilia, about the underground tunnels, about on and on, right down to, having Johnny Depp be the latest mass distraction, to, many, many things. What we learned in history, who knows? Imagine having much of it come all at once. Not several years, maybe even, like for me, decades of this stuff being revealed, but like, bam, the malevolent forces. It's going to be heavy duty for those who actually get that awakening. Some never will. They never will. They will not want to see it, know it. They're going to live out their lives in this way, and their souls will have their soul journey afterwards of, whatever that is. We all will learn something from this. We are all still held in the mind of God. We are all still children of God. But the shock that comes to the ego when it realizes that everything has been a lie, and not only that, that they are not respected, honored, loved, and it's really quite ugly. This is going to be shocking. And this is where we, as priestesses in the ministerial role, in the role of sacred service, may be called to serve, right? Be called to hold space for someone who's actually having a breakdown because they've just realized that everything they've learned and been taught is a total lie. That may be it for some of us. That may be part of our role. It may not. I don't think it's going to happen all in one day. But what I feel is happening, just like an eclipse opens up a doorway for an energetic signature to roll out over time. It doesn't happen like that, but it starts coming out more and more. That these truths are going to come out more and more. More and more people are going to not believe the narrative, and that destabilization in individual psyches emanates into the collective. And in that destabilization, we feel more funkiness. So we've got a lot we will be navigating in the next couple of years, and that includes potentially earth changes. That's going to happen. We know that Gaia is going to do some, as my dear brother here, my buddy that I go visit who's a seed saver said, he sees she's going to be like a dog shaking. It's, like a dog when it shakes off when it's wet. She's going to be doing some shaking as well. So there's that energetic. So we have a lot that we are going to be navigating here. Our role is to be in the field and to hold the field of love and to be in the field of love as much as possible, to be the hollow bone, the conduit through which the divine can flow. And then from that, each of us have our unique soul intention, right? My soul intended to be a teacher. Your soul may have intended to be an artist or a mother or an executive, or to create the next, revolutionary medicinal healing something or another. Who knows what? So we have our unique assignments, but as priestesses, we also have this collective intent to come in and literally hold the field of what's possible, so that those who are tired of the destabilized planet crazy have a container to come into, to a new resonance to vibrate with. So bringing in those energies of the mother, the mother that loves her children no matter what, that holds the field holds the child when they're scared or afraid, not from an egoic sense at all, but rather from the deep, dispassionate compassion of Kuan Yin, who accepts and loves all that is, and this divine acceptance of what is, and the loving field to support our sisters and brothers and ourselves at this time. So it requires impeccable integrity. That's why I say, if you're triggered, it's your trigger. No need to come, go attack whoever's triggering you. That's not integrity. You come in, you work it in yourself first, and then you come to what is the communication I need to express to this person in a way that's integrous, if at all. So this level of integrity, this compassion, but also the dispassionate around it. So it's not the ego going, oh my God, the world is suffering so much, I can't deal with it. That doesn't do any good. We have to hold a much higher standard for ourselves in this field of love. And that means, again, the impeccable integrity, the willingness to be wrong, the looking at our own shadow and where we've made choices out of integrity, the forgiveness practice of ourselves and others, the withdrawal of our energies from negativity, the battlefield of any kind. Maybe you have someone in your life who keeps wanting to irritate you and engage you in something, and to lovingly withdraw, to no longer give it attention. These are a few of the things that are coming through me. They're literally coming through. I have my eyes open, but this is channeling through me. That we are called to in these times. And we're still humans. We still have egos. We are not Christed yet. So let us also be humble. Like I have heard people who say, oh, I can take that jab and just transmute it. Hey, maybe Jesus could and other Christed master teachers, in the East, but I'm going to be humble and say, no, I'm not there yet. My ego still gets hooked into things. I am not yet 100% impeccable in my integrity. I aspire to it, however, and I dedicate to it, and I commit to correcting myself when I'm wrong and going, whoa, oh, there's the mind going into some judgment again. Time to pull it back, Dawn. Holy Spirit, take it from me. So this is what we're called to in these times, to aspire to that higher level. We are here to graduate from 3D, that we may move into, in our next incarnation and maybe on this earth in this lifetime, to literally live in an entirely different frequency where much more is possible because we are not suppressed and held down by these controlling energies that have kept us in the darkness for, I don't know, as long as Kali Yuga's been around, who knows? Eons? We don't know. So there is great possibility and there is great hope for all of us. And our role is to be the love we came to see in the world and we wish to see in the world. So, wow, I have gone over an hour. I'm amazed at that. I want to thank you all. I'm going to look at what comments came in and then open the floor. So let me actually start up at the top here. Mindy says, good morning, everyone. Farah says, Dawn, what are your thoughts on who they are? How high up the hierarchy does it go? Oh, that's a good question, Farah. I need to write this down just in case I want to record this. Let's see. Hold on. Sorry. I want you to see this. We're beginning to think that this is who they are. Oh, is that backwards? Is that backwards? Can you see what it is? Yeah. Okay. These are probably the people behind it. And some of their puppets are the famous people we see on the world, not movie famous, like political famous, alphabet letter organizations like the World Economic Forum, those people. So let me put that up again. And these folks are originally from the Ukraine. And apparently they've been hiding out as Jewish people for a long time, but they actually aren't. Now, beyond them, however, there is a beyond them. They didn't invent this stuff themselves, are extra planetary beings who may not even be here anymore. That's my feeling, and I've heard other people say it too, like Penny Kelly, like whether they're lizard beings or who knows what, these extra dimensional or extraterrestrial beings that originally were, like if you go back to Sumer, and that were originally enslaving the people, selected a group to be the human overlords through which they did their dirty work. And those are these dudes whose name I just put up here, apparently. That's the best that I know. So some of the names we see, like Bill Gates and Elon Musk and, Klaus Schwab and all these people, they're not the top dogs, but they're quite high up, but they're not the top dogs. The top dogs cannot be seen. The Vatican is involved, the royal family. I mean, it's just anybody you can think of who has great wealth and power, not just rich people, not just millionaires. I know lots of millionaires that are not part of this. I'm talking about the controllers, whether they're political or, they're the puppets of a higher order, but it's a small percentage. So I hope that helps. That's what I know based on my research. Pat says, I read Pat's already about distraction and one world order. Yeah, ultimately what they want is to reduce the population to some really minuscule amount, to turn the rest into cyborg-like robots who are easy to control, don't have emotional needs, don't even have much in the way of bodily needs, and that they keep their petty little kingdom here. But it's not going to work, is the thing. That's why I think it's important that we don't go into fear about it, because we know it's like a divine decree. Gaia's not going to take it anymore. But they're fighting for their lives, and they're going to drive no matter what. They're going to drive till the end. And the counter energy is the light of the divine. That is the counter energy. It's not fighting them. It's not punching them in the nose or decapitating them or playing in their arena. It is literally bringing so much light and love, just like cockroaches. They can't take it when you turn on the light. That's literally they're energetic. And yes, they're children of the one too, and ultimately it's all a dream. But in this dream, where we are, it is our light that is going to counter. So right now, one of the things they're wanting to do is get most of the nations of this earth to agree to allow the WHO to dictate how pandemics are handled in the future. So they got another one planned. That is, I just wrote to my senators the other day, if at least in this country, if our government leaders agree to this, that's called treason. It's called treason, to allow an unelected foreign entity to control and have power over our states. Our states have more power than our federal. That's how it's supposed to be. It's treason. So there are sometimes actions I felt called to take that action, and I'm going to do it with my representatives as well. So they're trying to create this one order where there's a small group that dictate everything everywhere. And the countermeasure is the light. It is our light, is us creating a field where they can no longer operate in the shadows. And when people see it, if the American people certainly, and this is happening in other countries too, but the American people, what our country is based on, really understood what was going on, they would not tolerate it. But they don't, because they've been mind-washed over many years. This is a plan that's been built up for a long, long time. Okay. So Vivian says gaslighting causing problems and beginning baby formula thing. I don't know what the baby formula thing is. Let me read the others, and then maybe we can have you come on and you can share. Wow, I pulled the wolf spirit yesterday, Lori says. All right. Amy says, I was just speaking to a friend yesterday about how resilient I feel. Every time I make a choice, freedom, my armor is strengthened. Yes. Every time we choose freedom, we choose love instead, our armor is actually strengthened. Every time we forgive, every time we choose not to go into judgment and pull ourselves back from it, we are strengthened. Beautiful. Thank you, Amy. So true. Rachel says, really reminds me of the wild woman archetype in the 13 Moon Mystery School. Wolf is one of her spirit animals too. Yes. Yeah, we are rewilding. That's that whole idea of rewilding ourselves, right? Is reclaiming our wildness, our instincts, Or as my dear friend Imani Mamalushan said in her interview with me, and she says it when her talks in her tribe, she raised her daughters with their instincts intact. I love that. I love that. We're reclaiming them. Pat Lewis says, newscasters are spellcasting. Absolutely. They're reading from a script too. So they're the mouthpiece for the spell to be cast. Samrita says, the opening ceremony at the London Olympics basically was a ritual to call in COVID, hospital beds and goblins. That's right. Hospital beds and goblins. Phew. And they put it right in front of your face. But people are so caught in the spell of the dream spell and think that couldn't be, because we project onto the world who we are, and we think people can't be that evil. I've had conversations with my mother who she just can't, people can't be that evil. No, Mom, you can't be that evil. But they're not you. And that's what they count on, is us not believing it. Now, here's the real, let's go metaphysical with this for a minute, because this is pretty interesting. They are actually us also. And because we have lived in a realm where we are projecting out our disowned shadow, they become that. We have created a fertile field in our denial, in our shame, in our guilt, in our hatred, and our projected attack that has allowed for that to emerge. And that's not to blame the victim. That's not what I'm saying. When we look at it from above the battlefield, from that higher perspective, we see, oh, even this is something I have participated in co-creating. So let me forgive myself and let me forgive the world, because there for the grace of God go I. And when we really feel that, when we really know it, it's a liberation. It is breaking the chains of the spell. We're not in the spell anymore at such a profound level that it opens us to be that emanation of light again. Okay. So Lori says he's going to use synthetics to support green living. Doesn't even make sense. I know. Better living through science. That came in the 50s. Some of us were born then. I wasn't born yet. But yeah, this whole idea, the more I come out of the spell, I'm more like, this is ridiculous. The things that we believed were true, they're completely nonsense. I am beginning to really deeply understand that every one of those, the injections have always been poison. They've always been poison. Maybe I'm wrong, but the more I look at this stuff, I just watched the series called Propaganda Exposed by Ty and Charlene Bollinger. It's really good. It's interesting to watch it from a perspective where I'm no longer so hooked by the stuff anymore, because I didn't like have bad dreams and stuff like that. They have developed the case and shown so clearly that it's all been a bunch of hogwash for so long. So much of what we're told is nonsense. Think about the Tet Offensive, though some of you are too young to know this, but in Vietnam era, there was supposedly this attack that happened in the Bay of Vietnam there on Tet, which is their New Year's Day. And nobody expected it to happen. And it was justification to increase the war effort and create, napalm and all the things we did to those people over there. Oh, later when they finally released the papers, never happened. Bunch of bullshit. And that was back in, I must have been a baby, like 60, I don't know when it was, 67, something like this. Maybe somebody knows here. Rachel says, like the archons. Yes, the archons are another name for these extra dimensional beings that they're AI. They're not of God. They're not. That's the extreme miscreation that we in this dark realm of the infinitude have created, is a non-God connected alien Borg-like creation that wants to turn everyone into the Borg. The Borg, I think, For anyone who watched Star Trek Next Generation, if you've not, you can look it up on YouTube and watch one about the Borg, is to me the best illustration of what they're trying to accomplish and what's happened. And again, because why? Oh, it's just fiction, Dawn. No, actually, they use fiction to tell us exactly what they're going to do, so we accept it by not rejecting it because we think, oh, it's just fiction. So if you haven't seen that, that's a good way to kind of get your head around what kind of this concept of Archon is, who may be behind all of this. Lori says, just look them up. They have a foundation to improve government performance management and balance sheet literacy.
That was the one you did. Will you held up the name?
Oh, yes. These guys. Thank you, Lori.
Yeah.
These guys. Thank you. I did not know that. More information there. Samrita says, I've been researching all the V's that are required for newborns and children. It is shocking to think that newborns are jabbed for STDs as soon as they are born. I shudder to think what's actually in them. Yeah, well, we know there was that one that was supposed to stop HPV, was absolutely destroying females, and they guinea pig children in foster homes, East Indian kids, African kids. I mean, it's been going on for years and years. This whole V thing is a demonstration of what I think we're coming to see as true evil. Vivian says, I heard that the shelves are empty of the baby formula. What a way to cause fear. Oh, that's right. I did hear about that. What a way to cause fear. A new mother is the most vulnerable to not being able to feed her child. Then I hear that Gil Bates is making a new baby formula, create problem, then give them the new formula. What happened to the breast? Yeah, exactly. And this is a whole nother thing about, again, rewilding ourselves, coming back to the earth, planting something new, which is old, the wolf mama. These bodies are made for this earth. If a woman gives birth, she is perfectly capable of nursing that child. If she's not capable, it's because of all the interventions. There's not something wrong with her. There's something wrong with the consciousness that's been manipulated into believing, I didn't have enough milk. Bullshit. If there were that many moms who didn't have enough milk, we wouldn't have humans. Hello. So it's coming back to our common sense as well. But yeah, I hadn't thought about that scaring the mother. Yeah, most mothers are so vulnerable when we're new moms. Our bodies are recovering from that stress. So to not be able to feed the baby, yeah, and this is on the bright side. We have to go to back to what we're supposed to do, which is breastfeed the baby. However, we have to also remember that many people have been captured. They have been captured by this system. And that's why I don't spend a whole lot of time trying to convince anybody else of anything anymore. If they are really caught in that narrative, there's not a lot I can do. They believe that men can have babies. They believe that you can give synthetic food to someone and they'll be nourished. They believe that the bad guys are the good guys. They believe that the newscasters are telling the truth. That's why we are withdrawing to build the new earth, to emanate our light, and pray for them because they are suffering. They are suffering. So thank you for bringing that up, Vivian. Yeah, science fiction, the idea of trust the science. It's scientism. It's a religion. Hep B is also given to newborns as a jab. This is a drug for addicts. Yeah. Addicts, and I think maybe people who eat raw sushi. So it is a time of great. If you look to the Book of Revelations and the time of the Antichrist rise, it is so much like that. It's like a crazy world out there when you take off the lens or the scales from the eyes of believing in that system and you look with clear eyes. What is that? Real eyes realize real lies. And you see the scope, the depth, the breadth, and the scope of it. It can feel overwhelming. But this is why we go to the metaphysical understanding that it is the light of love of God, the Christed light that we can each bring through us, that is the antidote. It is the only antidote. And we do it by clearing ourselves of enough of the obstructions to love's presence through forgiveness to literally be the conduit, the hollow bone, to emanate that love and to offer it to the world, to forgive the world. Forgive them, Mother, for they know not what they do. There, but for your grace, go I. So, Amanda says, thank you for the wold, maybe it was word, and touching the earth oracle. Yeah, oh, the wolf and touching the earth oracle. Sharing on this lunar eclipse. Clarissa Pincola Estes, General Wolf rules for life. Eat, rest, rove in between. Render loyalty, love the children, cavort in the moonlight, tune your ears, attend to the bones, make love and howl often. Wow, that is so incredible. I'm going to read that one more time. I think it's a good way for us to wrap up. Eat, rest, rove in between. Render loyalty, love the children, cavort in the moonlight, tune your ears, attend to the bones, make love and howl often.